He plans to discuss sharing France's nuclear deterrence with its European allies.
Under a looming Russia and the fracturing transatlantic alliance, the French president has made an urgent rallying cry and evoked the possibility of nuclear defence.
The French President Emmanuel Macron has said that he's open to extending France's nuclear deterrence to European partners in the face of threats from Russia.
Europe's security architecture is entering a fragile phase. Having relied on US military assurance for decades, Europe must now build its own defence independently. In particular, Europe is becoming more and more agitated by the fact that US President Donald Trump's latest offer of a 30-day temporary ceasefire to Russian President Vladimir Putin has not been put into effect. While the Ukrainian side approved it, Putin wanted to revise Trump's peace proposal, claiming that it had missing nuances. In the face of the Russian leader's stance, European leaders are trying to draw a new roadmap. The most forceful outburst came from France. President Emmanuel Macron strengthened the call for strategic autonomy for the continent's security and announced that France is ready to put its nuclear deterrent at Europe's disposal. Paris plans to create a protective umbrella for Europe with nuclear missiles with a range of 8,000 kilometers. But what do we know about France's nuclear capabilities? How does the European Union view France's move? For answers to these questions and more, our video begins. But first, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and give us a like to stay up to date with our content. France is on high alert as the balance in the political arena shifts. President Emmanuel Macron has expressed his readiness to start talks on nuclear deterrence for Europe. For him, Russia is a threat to France and Europe. Therefore, Macron stated that he has decided to launch a strategic discussion on the protection of the European continent with nuclear deterrence. France is the only nuclear power in the EU with around 290 nuclear warheads, and the only candidate to provide Europe with nuclear deterrence. Historically, France's nuclear doctrine has prioritized national sovereignty and maintained its deterrent independence from NATO. However, President Macron's proposal to extend France's nuclear umbrella to European partners marks a significant shift in strategy. This initiative addresses growing concerns about the fragility of transatlantic relations and the importance of a European-led security framework. The growing unpredictability of US foreign policy, combined with Russia's continued aggression in Ukraine, has intensified the debate on building deterrence in Europe. Reforms in France's nuclear program are strengthening its position as a potential security guarantor. The introduction of a third-generation nuclear ballistic missile submarine demonstrates France's commitment to maintaining a high-performance and reliable deterrent force. This initiative coincides with broader efforts to enhance defence capabilities in Europe, highlighted by the EU's recent approval of joint procurement of military equipment and a total increase in defence spending of up to 800 billion euros. These actions show a recognition among some European leaders that security cannot rely solely on NATO and the United States. The budget commitment also highlights the seriousness of the current security environment, threatened by Russian military expansionism and broader geopolitical instability. Macron's proposal is strategically valuable. France's nuclear deterrent is built around three pillars: land-based missiles, air-launched systems, and sea-based platforms, each playing a critical role in ensuring the country's second.
Most people have the misconception that Instagram is easy to do, but the truth is there's a formula to an effective social media presence.
Strike capability. These three pillars work together to provide France with a comprehensive and survivable nuclear force capable of responding to any existential threat. While these forces are primarily designed to protect France's own security, they also form the basis for the possible broader European nuclear deterrence debate that Macron alluded to. At the heart of France's land-based nuclear deterrent are the M51 intercontinental ballistic missiles, deployed primarily on Triomphant-class nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines. These missiles have a range of about 8,000 kilometers and can carry multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles, each with a nuclear warhead. This allows France to attack its enemies from a considerable distance, even in the event of a first strike. The M51 system represents one of the most reliable and survivable elements of France's nuclear strategy. While France does not currently have land-based ICBMs in the traditional sense, the strategic role of the submarine-launched M51 missiles ensures that French nuclear forces are unrivaled in survivability. In terms of air-launched nuclear capabilities, France's focus is on the ASMP-A cruise missile, deployed on both Dassault Rafale fighters and Mirage 2000N bombers. The ASMP-A missile is a supersonic air-to-ground missile designed to deliver nuclear warheads to strategic targets at ranges of up to 300 kilometers. The French Air Force provides the air component of France's nuclear Triad, enabling the country to launch nuclear strikes from air bases or aircraft carriers, depending on operational requirements. With its high agility, versatility, and proven combat record, the Rafale fighter jet serves as the primary platform for the delivery of nuclear payloads. France also plans to integrate the next generation of missiles and aircraft, ensuring that its nuclear deterrent remains state-of-the-art and can evolve with emerging technological threats. The most prominent component of France's nuclear deterrent is its sea-based pillar, centered around Triomphant-class SSBNs. These submarines carry M51 ICBMs capable of striking enemy targets thousands of kilometers away while maintaining an untraceable presence below the ocean surface. There are 4 Triomphant-class SSBNs in service, each equipped with M51 missiles capable of carrying multiple nuclear warheads. SSBNs operate under strict nuclear deterrence protocols, and their survival at sea ensures that France's nuclear deterrent is never completely neutralized in the event of an attack. These submarines can remain submerged for long periods of time. This makes them an almost impregnable component of France's deterrent. This highly survivable second strike capability means that even in a scenario where French land or air-based nuclear assets are neutralized, the nation can retaliate with devastating effect from its nuclear-powered submarines. France's nuclear force consists of 98 operational warheads distributed across 290 strategic delivery systems. These systems form the backbone of France's nuclear deterrent, sustained by ongoing modernization efforts, but with no plans to expand the size of the arsenal. France currently has 4 Triomphant-class SSBNs, each equipped with 16 M51 missiles. This means that the French Navy has 64 M51 missiles in total. Carriers, offering operational flexibility and ensuring that France's nuclear deterrent can be projected globally. Moreover, some EU member states have made it clear that they want to benefit from France's nuclear deterrent. Germany, for example, is demanding the deployment of French nuclear weapons in its territory. German leader Friedrich Merz wants to increase Europe's protection by utilizing the nuclear power of the United Kingdom. Merz said that we need to have talks with the British and the French, the 2 European nuclear powers, about whether nuclear sharing or at least nuclear security from the UK and France also applies to us. Merz warned that the US is now indifferent to the fate of Europe. This comes after US Vice President J.D. Vance suggested that American troops could withdraw from bases in Germany, where they have been stationed continuously since the end of World War II. German diplomats suggest that the French proposal to station their nuclear weapons in Germany could encourage the United Kingdom to do the same. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen said EU members should discuss Macron's idea. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk said the EU should seriously consider the French proposal. The Baltic states also showed interest in Macron's proposal. Lithuanian President Gitanas Nausėda praised the proposal as a very interesting idea. Latvian Prime Minister Evika Salina called the French proposal an opportunity for discussion. So how did Russia respond to France's move? Russia is outraged by Macron's proposal. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov described Macron's statement as a threat to Russia. Lavrov said that, if he considers us a threat and calls for a meeting of the European and British Chiefs of Staff, saying that it is necessary to use nuclear weapons against Russia, this is clearly a threat. Russia also said Macron was suffering from Napoleonic delusions. But is it really possible for Paris to expand its nuclear deterrent? Expanding France's nuclear deterrent presents significant challenges. The most immediate problem is the financial burden. Enhancing France's nuclear capabilities to protect additional European countries would require significant investments in warhead production, missile development, and submarine deployment. Given the struggling economies of EU member states in the process of recovering from the pandemic and facing inflationary pressures, it could be difficult for Brussels to secure the necessary funding. Moreover, France must assess the long-term sustainability of an expanded nuclear force, balancing domestic economic needs with security imperatives. Another major obstacle is achieving political unity within the EU. Some European countries, especially those sharing a land border with Russia, may see an expanded nuclear umbrella as a necessary counterweight to Moscow's threats, and therefore welcome it. In contrast, others may be less enthusiastic. Countries with traditionally neutral policies, such as Austria and Ireland, may oppose any initiative that would lead to increased nuclear proliferation in Europe. Germany, a key EU member state, has historically resisted nuclear proliferation and remains firmly committed to non-proliferation. Without a coherent EU security framework similar to NATO, it will require a significant effort to establish a common nuclear policy among EU member states. Bringing Ukraine under France's nuclear umbrella poses new strategic and legal challenges. Ukraine's non-NATO status means that any agreement on nuclear deterrence would have to be made outside the existing NATO framework, raising concerns about operational logistics and crisis management. Russia is likely to oppose such an arrangement as it has consistently portrayed NATO enlargement as a threat to its national security. This opposition could lead to increased tensions or even escalation. Moreover, the prospect of European nuclear deterrence extending to Ukraine would have significant geopolitical implications. Moreover, under the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, legally extending nuclear protection to a non-NATO state would require careful legal measures to avoid accusations of treaty violations, further complicating the situation. The question of Europe's strategic autonomy remains a major concern. The French proposal is an important first step towards reducing dependence on the United States, but it does not fully meet Europe's security needs. A common European defence strategy should include additional elements such as a more unified EU military structure, improved intelligence sharing mechanisms, and increased capabilities for collective military defence. The recent $800 billion EU defence spending plan shows this commitment, but its effectiveness will depend on continued political will and follow-up. France, on the other hand, in line with its doctrine and following geopolitical developments linked to the dissolution of the Warsaw Pact and the Soviet Union, has developed its arsenal around the concept of decisive sufficiency. This means that it has developed only the minimum amount of weapons deemed reliable enough to reliably inflict unacceptable damage on an enemy. There is therefore no question of adapting the arsenal to the capabilities of an enemy, nor of entering into any arms race, which in any case is impossible to sustain given the size of national budgets devoted to defence. For several periods, successive French presidents have stated that the arsenal consists of less than 300 weapons. This currently places France in fourth place among the P5 nuclear states, behind Russia, the United States, and China. France and the United Kingdom have different nuclear arsenals from the United States, French or British weapons in Europe. France has air-launched and submarine-launched nuclear weapons, while the UK has only submarine-launched nuclear weapons. Although technically independent of the US and launched only at the Prime Minister's discretion, UK nuclear weapons are heavily dependent on US technology. The UK designs and manufactures its own warheads, but buys the aeroshells for the warheads and the Trident missiles used as delivery vehicles from the US. These missiles must be periodically maintained in the US. If the US decides to stop supplying or maintaining the missiles, the UK will need to replace them before they expire. This will not be an easy task. All components of nuclear capability are built for each other. A new missile must be able to carry warheads and fit into an existing submarine launch tube. Although the UK has fewer nuclear weapons than France, it already provides a broad deterrent guarantee to other NATO members because it is a member of the NATO Nuclear Planning Group and has tasked its nuclear weapons with protecting Europe. In contrast, NATO member France has always reserved its nuclear weapons for national defence.